Welcome to another session of Cars, Collins, and Coffee, or however you like to orientate that. And I know I'm wearing the same shirt as last time. I'm drinking from the same bad coffee as last time, but we're talking about something different this time. And it's similar in a sense, but it's a bit different in the fact that we're talking about the most expensive cars, at least in 2020, 2021, that doesn't make any sense in my perspective because of what they bring to the owner. So they don't make any sense, but they are alright, but they don't make any sense. The first car in that list is the McLaren Speedtail, which was released about 2 years ago. McLaren would only be making 106 of these cars, and in my perspective they don't make sense. Let me tell you why. First of all, this car is a hybrid. It's powered by a 4-liter V8 and a electric powertrain. Coming together, it makes 1,000 horsepower, which is one of the most powerful McLaren cars ever to be made. But why don't I like this car? Number one, it is not particularly beautiful in my perspective. Number two, it's too big. Like, it's so long. This car is about the same length as a standard wheelbase S-Class. That is long for a sports car. And number three, it's almost like McLaren missed a chance to really bring out something unique. So this car doesn't speak to me at all. It doesn't speak to me, but it is crazy. It has crazy performance. It's the first car to feature flexible carbon fiber in the rear. It's the second car in the world to have a delta seating position. So the driver is sitting in the middle of the car and he has two passengers on the side. It's one of the first cars to have forged carbon fiber in the interior. It's one of the first cars to have mirrors integrated on the side. So it doesn't have mirrors, it has cameras instead of mirrors. It has a top speed of about 250 miles an hour, and it will do 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. So the performance it brings is crazy, but it's too big. It almost doesn't make any sense, and only a few people would ever buy it, and the people who would buy it will not really drive it because they're just gonna sit around. It's not a driver's car, it's just a toy basically. So for that reason, I don't like the McLaren Speedtail. This car costs 3.1 million. That rounds up to about 1.7 billion naira apart from taxes. The next car on our list is the Bugatti Divo. When Bugatti launched this car, what they told us was that this was their coach building year starting over again. So the Divo was created as a track-based Bugatti. What that means is that the car was designed for racetracks. If you look at the design of the car, the design of the wing, the design of the front, you see that it's very aggressive, very un-Bugatti-like. For that reason, the car has more downforce, so it's actually a lot lighter, a little lighter than the standard Chiron, and it's just supposed to be a toy basically for the super rich. Now, I don't like this car because it doesn't have that much differentiating factor from the standard Chiron. Another reason I do not like this car is the price. At $6 million, this car just seems like Bugatti trying to cash out because it doesn't bring that much difference to the table. Your standard Chiron cost about $2.5 million and this costs 6. So that's about twice the price for your standard Bugatti, which makes no sense because this car does not have twice the performance of the standard Bugatti. So it feels like Bugatti is trying to cash out, and Bugatti is only making about 40 of these cars and they are all sold out. So my banter does not really make any sense because they are all sold out anyway. So for that reason, the Divo is not my favorite expensive car. So the next car on my list of cars that are expensive and don't make any sense, coming at number 3, is a Lamborghini Sian. This car was released in 2019 and it was basically Lamborghini experimenting with new technology. So what they did was that they brought a hybrid system. So instead of batteries, this car is powered by a supercapacitor. Now, what that brings to the table is that it has 3 times the storage capacity of your average battery. It can release all its power at the same time, something your standard battery cannot do. So it has a V12 and it has an electric system. But the electric system is just connected to the transmission, so it assists the engine in creating power lower down in the rev range, and it also assists the engine to make more horsepower. How much more horsepower? About 800 horsepower, thereabout. And I don't like this car because of its price. This car costs about 3.12 million, which in my mind doesn't really make that much sense, because your average Aventador costs about $300,000. Then the Aventador SVJ cost about $600,000. This car costs about 3.12, which is almost 4 times more the price of the Aventador, and this car is not so much different from the Aventador. In fact, if you get the Aventador SV Jota, you would probably get more performance out of it than the Scion. So for that reason, the Scion, which costs 3.12 million, which is $1.85 billion naira, apart from shipping and custom, makes no sense to me. It comes in number 2, and it's the Pagani Zonda HP Barchetta. Now, Pagani would only be making 3 of these cars. Let me tell you why this car makes sense. Number 1, it has a 7.3 liter V12 from the Pagani Zonda that was created a long time ago. This engine is naturally aspirated, so it sounds glorious, simply glorious. Number 2, it has a manual transmission. What that means is that you can shift gears yourself and then you can have a blast driving the car. Number 3, it's light. Number 4, it's a roadster. So that means open top driving. It has a mechanical limited slip differential, which makes the driving experience a lot more engaging than your modern supercar. Now, the reason why this car doesn't make any sense is because of its price. Now, your average Zonda used car on the market right now will cost you about between $2 or $3 million, depending on where you're buying it and the special edition you're buying. This car, this specific car, the HP Barchetta, cost 17.6 million. You could buy almost you could buy about 7 Zondas with that money. 17.6, that makes it crazy. That is 6.688 billion naira apart from taxes and customs. So that's ridiculous, even for me. I don't get it at all. So this, because I mean, it costs just, they are making just 3. It's advanced, yeah, it's engaging, but the only reason why someone would pay that much money for a car is because of the exclusivity. Only 3 will be made, but yet it doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's a ridiculous sum of money to pay for any car, and for this particular car, it's simply ridiculous. And the king of ridiculousness is here, and it is the Bugatti La Voiture Noire. I definitely pronounced that wrongly, but what that translates to in English is the black car. Now, this car is a special car, a one-off. What that means is that just one will ever be made, and it's Bugatti's way of celebrating their heritage. Apparently, they're using the car to celebrate a specific car that was lost in the 30s. So in those days, Bugatti made 3 special cars. 2 of them are still in existence, but one of them was lost. Now, Bugatti made this car to celebrate those 3 special cars made in the 30s, and this car cost about this car cost about $18.7 million. That rounds up to about 7 billion naira. Just one will ever be made, and it makes no sense. Like, no sense at all. I don't get it. So the only person who will be buying this car, and guess what? Yeah, it's already sold. Someone bought it, and the person is definitely a Bugatti person, and probably a billionaire, probably. And this price for this car, it makes sense to that kind of person. So the person buying this is buying it as art. But another thing to note is that in a couple of years, the value for this car is going to go up. So in the next 5 years, it could cost about 25 million new to buy. In 10 years, it could cost about 30. So whoever bought this as a investment as much as it is an irrational purchase. So that rounds up my list of the most expensive cars that doesn't make any sense. If you can see, I'm basically bored on this one because these cars are just, they're good, they're nice, but they're just, yeah. So thanks you for joining me, and see you on the next one. I don't know what I'll talk about on the next one. I'll probably just pick one random car that I like, probably the Valkyrie, and just talk about a few things that makes the Valkyrie make sense. Or you can suggest to me things you would like to talk about. If you'd like me to talk about a specific car, what makes a specific car fast, what makes a specific car special, you can always drop that. So I remain Collins, and thank you.